is great. Got it. Cool.
All right. So let's get this going. All right. Now we're ready. So my name is
Yay.
Jacinda Miller, and I am a baton twirling teacher and coach, contest director, and I am excited to be joined by Veronica Johnson, who does the same thing, just in a different state. But we're glad to collaborate and share some of our competition director best practices. All right. Throwing it to you, Veronica.
Okay, thanks, Jacinda. Hey, so when Jacinda had this idea, we talked about what could we do. Well, the two of us that we've already done introductions for, we talked about basically in two components, which would be contest preparation. How do you get that contest going? Contest execution, day of. And then we thought we'd open it up for other questions, which of course you'll have to email us or get a hold of us via phone call if you want, if you all have any questions for us. So that's what we'd like to accomplish.
Perfect. So let's get right into it. And already introduced myself. Veronica, you can share with anybody watching this video about yourself, and then we can share a little bit about Charlotte and why she's on here and kind of how to get access to that other webinar.
Absolutely. My name obviously is Veronica Johnson, and I've been around the Midwest quite a bit, but finally, 4 or 5 years ago, moved out to Colorado. So rebuilding out here as far as a state for twirling and have the opportunity to be a director as well. Like Jacinda said, a director for NBTA competitions right now, or open competitions as well. So it's pretty exciting to be on the front end of growth, but also using a knowledge base that I've had in other states from folks like Jacinda, or we have Charlotte Anthony on there from Indiana, and I lived in Indiana for years, and she actually taught me quite a bit on directing a competition. And it was great to see differences from people, different directors. And this is supposed to be a best practice of directing, just from our perspective, kind of, hey, this is how you can get going.
Perfect. And we did record another video. I had complete laryngitis, so I squeaked out a few little comments. So we'll include the link to that video in this one, so that if you want to see that little bit more detailed, and Charlotte is on that video.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't make the schedule work for her to hop on with us now, but she's another great resource that you could talk to if you have questions on how to direct a baton competition.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
go
Oh,
for it.
sorry, Jacinda.
No, go
First,
for it.
I'm going to lead, but then Jacinda's going to pipe in. This is how we did it before with her laryngitis, so that's how it worked. Basically, what I think we start off with on contest preparation is procuring a gym. Especially now, it's really difficult to do that. And a gym, I happen to be kind of I say a pseudo teacher, so I can get a gym local here. It's very inexpensive. And a couple of things that we mentioned in the last video was that I have been able to waive some fees, such as janitorial, if I promise to clean up, but I do have a janitor's number if I need it. And Jacinda, you had another option besides a gym. You do something else as far as facility use.
So we have a local, it's called a field house, and it's a privately owned gym. Actually, it's like 4 basketball courts, and that is a place that can be rented. So it's also okay to kind of look outside of your school districts and look at other options, because there are these privately owned gyms in some areas that they are a business as well. So they're always looking to keep their facility busy and rent it out. We've also rented churches. Churches often have gyms, or not often, but at least in Minnesota, many churches have gyms, and they are sometimes available to rent as well.
Yeah. So hopefully, you can find a gym, but that's the first thing, is to get that date. There's a lot of conflicting sports, as you will, and you have to get that date. The second is to decide, is this an open event or is this an NBTA event? And if you make it an NBTA event, you need to get it sanctioned. So for instance, Jacinda and I both do our state competitions that qualify for nationals and also our Miss Majorettes that qualify for AYOP as well. So we have to get sanctions for that. And to do that, there's a form, and I don't know if you can see that with my nice sunshiny state here. It's on the back of the judges, actually the judges registry, I guess. And but not if people don't have that or aren't a judge, they don't get this. So basically you write to headquarters, MBTA headquarters, and say that you would like to have or host a competition. It's easy as that. I have mixed it before where I've actually had a sanction, but I've actually spelled out where there's a non-sanctioned event that I'm hosting within my events, but we're a mixed state here, if you will, because we do have some USDA people. I want them to be able to get strut out on the floor. They don't do X strut. So I wanted to say non-sanctioned strut. Just to mix it. And I felt very good about that because I was upfront just to say non-sanctioned events. And it was fine because we knew we weren't going to follow MBTA rules with USDA strut, et cetera. Jacinda, did I miss anything there on sanctions?
No. And I think if you have any questions on events or rules, reach out and we can talk through any of those types of things with you personally based on your area, your program, and what you're doing.
Right. The next section was judges. As soon as you know that date, I'd go after judges as far as trying to get them. They're busy. Everybody's busy. And then also it's that travel expense you have to figure out quickly, especially with flights being so expensive. So Jacinda and I are both judges, have been for a few years, and we have the judges directory, but not everyone has access to that. So if anyone needs help trying to find a judge in their area, feel free to reach out to us if you don't know. Typically, you know who the judges are. But let us know. But that's a great resource to start with, and then just go out and say, however you want to present it. And it's nice to also explain to judges too, as far as how much you can pay, if you know at that time how much you're budgeting. If not, it's okay. Jacinda, sound good?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, the other thing, there's another resource. TU, like Twirling Unlimited, has a great online judges registry. Anyone can get on their website. So she publishes that, and that's really handy as well if you want to find a judge as well. Entries, go ahead. When you make your entries, I've recently gotten into the modern world with technology, and I've done a Google form and gotten it out there. So my entry has kind of, here are the events, etc. I've also included a waiver in there, and the waiver is for nobody will hold the school or directors or judges liable for anything, basically is what it is. And then we also had a COVID, and I'm still keeping it, waiver. So Jacinda, you've done waivers as well for your operation or your contest, haven't you?
Yep. So we
Okay.
use JotForm as one of our is the way we offer our entries. And JotForm is nice because it allows you to collect money, so they can pay right online with JotForm. So that is
Ah.
one nice thing. But we also have a waiver in there, and I did keep the COVID
Mhm.
wording that we were required to use back during the more active time of COVID.
Mhm.
I did keep that on there, and because people still get sick, and whether it's COVID or flu or just a cold, the thing is I wanted to protect myself from that. If somebody gets COVID and then they can't come to the contest, I can't always refund their money. If everything's paid for,
Mhm.
the gym, the judges, and the awards, I can't refund their money because typically most of it's gone. So I did keep that on there that there are no refunds due to illness, COVID, or anything else.
That's smart. That's really smart. Um, so basically creating your entries, include a waiver if you can, if you have a nice write-up. If not, I'm sure Jacinda and I could share ours. Charlotte uses mine actually because I got it from my insurance company. And then the other thing was just social media. Jacinda's a whiz at this. I am not. She's great at this. To get it out, how do you get it out there? Do you email? We don't snail mail anymore. We used to entries, but now it's getting it out. So Jacinda, how do you publish or get social media, active so people know your contest is out there? What do you do?
So as soon as I have my dates, I start posting on Facebook about it, and I just keep posting a couple of times a week when we're a little bit further away, and then pretty much every day as we get close to that deadline. Because I know people are busy and they need those reminders. I also email it out. So I do have an email list, and I use MailChimp as the way to contact my customers through email. So I'll create an email in MailChimp, and then that'll send out, and it'll usually I do one to announce the competition, one to remind, and then one near the deadline. And that's how I try to keep people in the loop that there is a competition coming up. And of course, we'd love to have them.
Absolutely. I like that. And MailChimp, that's a new one for me. So I think that's a great idea just to catch the people that are on your list and say, hey, it's coming in case
Yep.
they didn't see it on Facebook. That's awesome. And another thing that we talked about before was events to encourage younger or newer contestants. And Jacinda recently judged for our state out here in Colorado, and we did something that was very, special beginner, where it's basically their first contest or they haven't won it, anything yet. And we did basic marching, we did military marching, and then we did a little solo. So when I say little, it's for the kids that just are scared to death to get out there. It's their first time or just don't really have it that confidence yet. Jacinda, what events do you do? I think you had a really clever one that you did, like tricks or something that
Yes,
sounded
we
really
call
neat.
it basic skills. And so it's a list of tricks that are basic tricks. Figure eight in their right hand and left hand, horizontal in their right and left hand, a chin roll toss with a stick toss, thumb roll or thumb toss, arm roll, elbow roll. So there's about 10 tricks on that list. And the judge is going to just say the trick to the child or to the competitor. They're going to say, show me your figure eight or your ice cream scoop, and then they perform it. And there is no routine, and they get their award immediately. So it's really nice for kids who don't have a routine. So they're just getting started. I'm teaching them all those skills in their class so they don't have to take an extra class. They just wear their team costume, they know the tricks, they go out there and they try it and see if they like it. Some kids that really inspires them to do more. Some that makes them too nervous and they're just not ready for it yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's incredible. And I know we talked about you give the judge your list so the kids know exactly what you call it or if it helps trigger something. I also love Jacinda that gets interaction with an adult they don't know. And with us in baton, especially NBTA, that interview process that we have as you get older, et cetera, you have to be able to interview. And I always value that. And it's a transferable skill in life. So I
Yeah,
think it's great to
absolutely.
interact. So that's a great idea. And then Charlotte mentioned a couple of other things that she did. She does like pageants that aren't necessarily like Miss Majorette pageants. She'll do like a military king or queen. So they have to do basic march, military march, and a solo, which is great because that gets them included in a pageant with a special award. So that's another way that you can do it. I thought that was clever as well.
Yes.
Um, yeah. So score sheets. I'm going to keep moving because it's time. But score sheets you can always get on the NBTA website, and they're on there. I print them from there just to make sure I have the most updated one. Double check the times on it. Sometimes they at the bottom on the left-hand corner, lower left-hand corner, the times on there just to make sure they're all accurate per the rules. The rules can be found there too, folks. If you're not familiar, always have a set of rules with you if you're directing a contest. Your good judges will also have their set with them, I'm sure. So that helps. Just into that's good on score
Yep.
sheets.
I
Okay.
think that's the best place to get them is that website.
Yep. Absolutely. Um, and awards, we talked a little bit more about this, just to say we're trying to vary it because trophy costs right now are extremely high and they keep going up. So, and kids are not liking trophies as much. I've heard of so many people wanting to donate them back, et cetera. So this past contest that we did, our state competition in October, We did bags, backpacks, pullovers, hoodies. We did different things. Jacinda, I know you did a couple of different things too that you worked on.
We have done a few different things. So our competition that we do in January is it's cold in Minnesota in January. So we've done scarves and hats and mittens and zip up sweatshirts and so we've just done different things and they'll usually have they'll say twirler on them. Sometimes we'll do our Frozen Frenzy logo, but sometimes we just keep it really generic and it just says twirler, depending on the item and how much space we have. So it's just a different award to give kids. And there's lots of creative ideas out there. Veronica and I have been on the phone for a couple of hours just brainstorming things that like, oh, try this and do this. And I one idea that Veronica gave me is she said to go get plates from the dollar store. So I had $1.25 invested in them. And then I created a sticker and a colored sticker. And then I had that printed at just my local like FedEx office and
Mhm.
then put that sticker on there. And it ended up looking really nice. It
Mhm.
was minimal time for me and it was less than the cost of a trophy and it looked better anyway. So the kids
Mhm.
loved those plate awards that we did a few years ago.
That's awesome. The other thing too, Jacinda and I have talked about, I did find a company in Michigan, and I'm not saying it's the best company, it's just a company that did logos for me, and they've done a bang up job. So I had like a 4 or 5 colored logo for our state, and it's beautiful. My co-partner Tina Hansen actually did it. She's a marketeer, but it's beautiful. And this company made it for me and did a great job. So all I had to do was cut it out, turn it upside down, and iron it on where it needed to go, and it was wonderful. Because it's hard for us personally to make those all on our Cricut
Yeah,
if we have a Cricut. So
yeah. And
so
yours
what we're
were
oh
beautiful. They were
oh
gorgeous.
thank you. That they turned out really well, and I was appreciative because that was high quality from that company in Michigan
Yeah.
that I really. It's called Versa Trans. If you guys want to reach out to them because they did a great job for me, and it wasn't expensive. It was especially if you get it in volume. Um, so that's awards. What we're saying is go for something other than trophies. And the other thing too, in the rule book, it does say that novice can't get trophies. So that one is, you have to kind of stuffed animals. I've done stuffed animals.
Yep.
I find that, I do things that are different just to make sure I try to work within that constraint.
Yep.
Okay, I'll keep shifting gears to lane assignments. This one I put on here just because there's a program out there. It's an access kind of database format. It's very old, but it can be useful. If you need it, let us know. We can try to figure out how to get you a copy. This database, what happens in it is you can actually enter you have to build the contest, just like your entry says, but then you enter what the contestant wants to be in, and then you can also do a lane assignment. I prefer to do my own because I'm a small contest right now. Jacinda, I don't know if you do your own as well.
I do.
Yeah, but this program does lane assignments if you need to do that. The program also, there's a couple benefits to that program. It will shoot out mailing labels that actually have the event, the name of the contestant and the event and the age. I use that part. And then the other part I use is contest judges masters. It will spit those out for you too. And I love that because the last thing you want is a judge writing out masters with names because it wastes time.
Mhm.
You can do it before and it actually saves time. Prep on the front end will save you time.
Yep.
Fair enough, Jacinda, on that. That program's kind of clumsy, but it does work for some
Yep.
things. Okay.
I don't use it, but I know that a lot of people do, and they like it.
Yeah.
I have used mostly Google spreadsheets, and I
Mhm.
build my lineup in there, and then I also use that same thing to build my masters. So I have kind of a system. If you need help and you don't want to use the Access program, but you want to use a Google spreadsheet, let me know. Happy to help you
Yes.
kind of set that up
Mhm.
and tell you all the little tips and tricks I've learned from doing it the wrong way. And now I have a nice system that works. So,
Yeah. I like that. Nice. So various ways to do it. The program, like I said, it's a little outdated. A new one needs to be designed. But there's, there's some uses to spreadsheets, etc.
Mhm.
Insurance, I put this down here just because I have an insurance company I use year round because I teach. And they actually said I could host contests with that same insurance coverage. And so just want to make sure that you all are remembering insurance, get yourself covered. Because if you run a contest, now most schools and facilities won't let you walk in without insurance anywhere anymore, I don't think. So, like up here, I have to have a $2 million liability, blah, 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 so there's limits, et cetera. But just make sure you have that insurance. You need to be covered because if something happened, and I hope nothing does at your competitions, but please make sure you're covered. Fair enough, Jacinda?
Yep. And I use K&K insurance.
Okay.
They're very sport friendly,
Mhm.
so their rates are pretty reasonable, and you can customize it. So we have to have a 1 million, $3 million
Okay.
policy in
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Okay.
Um, so it's certainly very affordable. So
Mhm.
and they'll do special um certificates of insurance for our events, which is nice.
Nice.
So
Mhm.
I'll have to kind of list the school district and whatever
Mhm.
facility we're using. They have to be listed on our insurance, and they'll create that for you. So it's great.
Nice. Nice. I use similar, I use Sadler Insurance and they are sports oriented as well. So K&K I used years ago. So that's interesting because you
Yep.
really want to go after someone that knows sports, baton, something that is specific for us. If you do a local, it's going to be hard. They won't understand
Yep.
and they'll think it's, they won't get it. So that's why I did the same thing. So cool, Jacinda. Money collection, you mentioned Jotform lets you do that. So I was very interested. I've used Venmo recently, PayPal, Venmo. I did read something about that they've changed their tax implications as far as if you've used it as a funnel for money. And I was going to use this forum if people called in to find out what they know about it. I don't know enough yet. I have to do research for my taxes next year because Venmo has a record of how much money I received for that competition. Okay,
Hmm.
let's pretend it was $500. They have that record. I now have to figure out how to represent that on my taxes appropriately. So just want to make sure you all are aware of that. It's not just if you say it's from friends, yeah, but they still have record, by the way. So I
Right.
need to make sure I'm doing it right so the IRS doesn't come after me personally, but just figure it out. So I threw it out there, Jacinda. I don't know if you know anymore. I'm doing research myself on this right now.
So mine's a little bit different. So mine comes in through Square is the gateway that we use,
Yep.
and it's
Mhm.
connected through JotFarm. Um, and then it just gets reported as part of our income and expenses that we do for our business. So I run
Okay.
the competition through a business. It's not running through me personally.
Got it.
Um,
Mhm.
so it just gets all reported through that, like through our profit loss and all that stuff.
Okay. This
I'd
is,
be happy to share
yeah.
what I know if you have questions on it. But
Okay.
I have an accountant basically that does it for me because I
Yeah.
this is not my area of expertise and also not my area of interest. So I let the experts do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is, as we talk about money collection, if you're in a contest trying to direct it to get tons of money, I don't know if you'll get there. Good luck if you do. And wow. But just remember that a lot of times I'm considering, oh gosh, if I break even, I'm happy. So it's just one of those things where I'm sure you can save money and make, you'll be in the positive, but it's tough. It's tough right now. And awards are expensive. Things are expensive. We haven't even raised our rates on entry, general entry for just an open event. It's been $10, $12 forever, so just wanted to mention that. Okay, tax implications. We're going to shift gears real quick into contest execution. You've done a lot of prep work probably for all of this. I know it. That's great. That's the prep work up front will make it go smoothly the day of. That's my philosophy. Um, Contest execution, just set up. How do you want to set it up? You've seen competitions, set it up that way. Um, Food, I wrote food down here just because I don't do it anymore. After COVID kind of shut that down, I write in my thing. If you need food, you bring it. You need water, you bring it because I am not good at food. I don't like doing it. Jacinda, how do you handle that kind of food for yours?
So we have our parent group handles our concession stand. And it's a good fundraiser for our baton teams.
Wow.
So we have one parent who kind of heads it up, and then she has different parents bring in the pop, bring it, donate the food, and then we sell that throughout the day. And then any of the proceeds go back to the team to be used for props or travel expenses or whatever, kind of whatever is the need at the time. But the parents handle all of it because as the contest director, you're probably going to be really busy and you just don't have time that day or in the days leading up to it to handle food. So if you don't have a solid group of parents to help you, I would do what Veronica does and just don't do it at all. Or have something very light, like maybe a bottle of water and some granola bars, something very, very small, because you have enough on your plate without handling the concession stands.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Next, I wrote a lane assignment distribution. A lot of directors I've seen have actually prepped it and then sent it out to people so they print their own, which saves you a lot of money on paper. I have been spoon feeding my group up here because we're really new. And what I do is I actually line it out with contestant names under it and I highlight where the contestant is and give them that. But that's because they don't know. Colorado's very new. We don't know what we're doing, so they just didn't know. So that's why I've been doing that. Jacinda, do you have a lane assignment that you email? Is that how you handle it?
So, like I said, we put it in a Google
Okay.
spreadsheet, and then what I do is I do an event listing, which is just beginner March 0 to 6, and then all of the kids in it, beginner March 7 to 9, and all of the kids. And I'll email that out when I'm done with it, which is usually earlier in the process. And then I allow parents to say, you put Susie Sue in beginner March 7 to 9 and 0 to 6 extra. So it helps catch any mistakes, which is
Yeah.
why I do that. But then I also will eventually sometimes get people who add to their entry. So maybe during the entry, when they're completing their entry form, they don't register for everything they wanted. But then once they get it, they're like, oh, yeah, now our two batons ready. So can we add the two batons? So then I can make any adjustments for that. And then I do the lineup of like, here's what's in lane 1, here's what's in lane 2, and then I send that out, and then there are no changes from that point on. And then I have people print their own at home as well.
Yeah.
And if somebody is new, like my own students who are new, then I do that for them to kind of get them started and have our more seasoned or more experienced parents help them navigate that the day of the contest.
Nice, nice. And you've got a good base that knows what they're doing. So I,
We
I
do.
I want to evolve to that because then it's just get it on them. They print it, they have it, they've studied it. Good. It's not a big secret who's in your state or who's competing.
Right.
It'll be fine. Great. So the next was, if you want to run it as a set system, individual set system, or at the judge's pace, I guess, is another way. So a set system is where you have an announcer perhaps say, hey, up on set number 1 in lane 1 is blah, 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 lane 2, lane 3, lane 4, they announce it, then you go. Music starts, they go. And then it's that group is off. Then it's number 2. I have judged at that many times in my life. It's not my favorite. It does fly, but it's just different. So, and you need a lot of organization to that. You also need an announcer that you trust and that can go and make sure they're all set. It's stressful for the kids. It's stressful for the parents. To me, I've had feedback from my kiddos. But recently I went to Texas and there's an individual set system. So, and Jacinda knows what I'm talking about because we have on the judges table was like the number 1, 2, 3 on. And then in our assignment sheet, it said, or lane assignment sheet, they would have a contestant name and then their number 1, 2, 3, whatever. They know on that lane, they are number 1. So that judge goes at her own pace or his own pace. And they always know what's up on that lane at that time. Now, the judge has to be disciplined to kind of, flip that chart, but it does keep it moving. And then you also, as a contest director, know exactly where each judge is. You've got it. You know where they are. And you can say, okay, judge number 3 is going slower. I've got to figure this out. I got to get ahead of that, and you can try to figure out how to help them. Um, but that one works well for me. And like Vicky Ray down in Texas was the one that showed me this, and give her credit because that was a huge contest and it ran. And it was really helpful. The parents loved it. They knew where they were going. It helped. So Jacinda, I don't know if you have an opinion on any of that as
I do
well.
have an opinion on it. So I judged for Veronica when she did hers like that, and I had a contest 2 weeks after Veronica's, and I loved it. And I tried it on our fall competition, and it was slick, and parents loved it because they weren't looking at a lineup and going, "Who's on lane one? I'm not sure. Who's on lane
Mhm.
two? I don't know." It was just so much easier. Like they knew on lane one, their kid was number five and
Mhm.
that judge is judging the kid that's number three. So they knew they had two to go on that lane, 10 to go on the next lane, and they could just figure it out. The other benefit on as far as prep time is I noticed there wasn't really any reason for me to have the big folders
Yeah.
that say like novice march 0 to 6. They didn't need it because they had the number that told them what
Mhm.
it was. So it saved me a little bit of prep time. Um, we had a lot of folders created anyway, so it some of it was already done, and so I just reused those. But some of the new ones, I just found like I just put them in a blank folder and then gave it to the judge, and it worked just fine. It wasn't necessary
Yeah.
to have it.
Yeah, I agree with that because I use my folders that are already that had the name of the event, et cetera. And that was like a double down way. It wasn't useful. You didn't need it. So I
Yeah,
thought
you
that
didn't
that's a
need
good
it.
point, Jacinda. You
Yeah,
don't need it. So I really value that. So kudos, Vicky Ray, if you're out there. Thank you, because
yeah,
you got me thinking differently. Because I, at first, when she explained it, I said, "What is this?" And then I got it. And the kids, every time they're there, and as a judge, I didn't have to wait. I
yeah,
love that. I'm happy because when I have to wait, I get really cranky. So,
yes.
oh, I said that out loud and we were being recorded. No, um, I do have patience on that. Anyway, so that was that. I didn't put on here, like posting results. Some people do it old school style, like me. They're handwritten, or that Access database can actually print them out. You can post them on the wall. I know, Jacinda, you do them on your Google Forms or your
Yep.
Excel.
So
Okay.
that same spot that we have the lineup, the events, the lineup, we also put the scores and the placings in there. And then parents can be accessing it throughout the day and we don't have to post them. And it reduces the number of volunteers we need to do some of those jobs because we have the person who's tabulating, puts it right into the spreadsheet, and boom,
Mhm.
it's live and ready to go.
Yep, I like that. Great. Tabulating, you do it as you see fit, you can have a program. There's multiple programs, Excel. I've done Excel spreadsheets that were, wow, they could catch anything. Or I've done that one assignment, or I've had my husband recently do it, and I'm sure he's thrilled to tabulate for me, but he's great at math as well. So yeah. So tabulating is important, especially for you always want to tabulate the big events. Always, always,
Absolutely.
always. Your state events and your any pageant or Miss Majorette stuff. You've got it. You have to. You really have to get that double checked. Jacinda, if you flip to the next page or slide, um, we're offering up. Oh, yeah.
Went
We're
past
offering up. There we go. We're offering up if you want to reach out to any one of us, please email us. We are here. I'm not saying we're experts, but we've learned through years of experience what works well, what doesn't.
Absolutely.
And I could give you some of my days of mistakes where I thought, why did I do that? Where I learned, and you always learn best practices when you're at another contest. And I think that's been fun as a judge. I learn things. Every contest I go to, I learn something new and I love it. So Jacinda, I think we're available. I put Charlotte down there too. She's a wealth of information. She's directed Indiana for years and years and just she knows her stuff down there.
Yeah.
Anything else, Jacinda, that I've missed
I
that
don't
we've
think
missed?
so. So if you're deciding to direct a contest and you need help, reach out. We're happy to help and want you
Yeah,
to be successful. So let us know how we can help and what questions we can answer.
good. All right.
All
Well,
right.
thanks. Thanks.
We'll see you later. Let us know if we can help.
Did you stop recording? Oh,
I
we have 4 minutes.
we did it.
Okay, we did it.